Today is my last day teaching. I feel a lot of emotions, and I haven't had my favorite class yet, my babies. So I know that when, oh my gosh, just thinking about it, I'm about to cry so hard. I love them so much, like genuinely. And um, honestly, I my heart is hurting, but I've become content with my decision, and I know that I made the right choice for me. And I love my students so much because like they're like they don't want to they're like I just don't want to be selfish and like stop you from like living your dreams and doing what you need to do. And like I just think that them just having the heart of that and like reminding themselves of that is so beautiful, but also like just us grieving each other of like the short time that we have together truly just like makes my heart hurt. And although we will like continue our relationships and like just talking and like me pouring into them, it just hurts in the moment knowing that like we almost had until the end of the year, but then it would have been switched because then they would have left me because they're seniors. So it's like, ooh, like I need you, but not really. It's really not that. But my heart is very heavy today. I feel like I'm like very I'm mourning, and I'm not even really in my room today. I'll probably be in here later, but right now we're practicing on the stage because I'm just trying to prepare them for the show next week. And I'm just not really sure. I know that they're going to be amazing, and I wish that I could be there to like, I wish I could be there for them next week, but it's okay because like, I know that they're going to be amazing and they're going to have a really great time on stage. But right now, like my heart is just so heavy for them, but I'm just like, I don't even know. I don't even know if I'll be able to look at them. But I'm definitely gonna cry. Like, definitely just giving them like so much love. One of my students came up to me and like, I know that God has a plan for everything. Like God really does have a plan for every single thing. And although like right now I don't understand, like I know why I'm leaving, but I don't know why God put these things in the works for me to leave so early. And I know and I trust him so much because like he's all knowing, he's omnipotent, and he just knows what's coming ahead, and he knows me and he knows my heart. And so I just always see it as protection. Like God is just like, I love that you're here, but let me just remove you from this situation because listen, greater is coming. Greater is coming, okay? Greater is coming. And so, although I'm mourning and I am again in my season of letting go, I'm just very much in a season of gratitude. Like a lot of my prayers have just been like, thank you, God, for all of these lessons. Thank you, God, for being my friend in my isolation. Thank you, God, for being my mentor. Thank you, God, for making these decisions for me. And like, I've just really been putting my trust in him. And thank you for paying like the bills that I couldn't pay. Thank you for letting me last this long, because honestly, if it really wasn't for him, like I'll probably be on the street, like literally on the street somewhere looking goofy. Well, not on the street for real, but like just looking goofy because I don't know, he's really made a way out of no way. But I know that him moving me back into the situations that I'm going into and just in this next phase, like really moving into phase 2 with like, just with excitement and just like, although like we're grieving and we're letting go and we're mourning and we're just letting these feelings pass, but just knowing that we're going into a season of joy, a season of change, a season of new. And that is just what's so exciting for me. And I was like writing a poem about this, like God really put me in my Jonah season. Like if you don't know the story of Jonah, basically Jonah was like, I'm not going. And like God told him like to go somewhere and preach and like tell them that he was going to destroy the city. And Jonah was like, actually, I'm kind of scared and I'm not going to go there. And then God was like, oh, okay, work. I'm going to just let a fish eat you. So God sent a fish. He literally appointed this fish to come and swallow Jonah. And he was in this waiting season. And I just really, like, I was watching this like TikTok video, and she was like saying how like God had used her Jonah season for protecting her of things that like could have happened, or she could have lost her life that day. And I was just like, wow, like this is really crazy. Like I feel like God has been like really keeping me like in this fish. I've been in the fish of New Jersey, literally in the fish of New Jersey. God has been protecting me from things that I don't even know. Like I don't even know. The thing is, sometimes when I think about my movement here, I'm like, God, like I wanted to move to, like when I first said I wanted to move and started saving, I was like, I'm moving to LA. And then it went, I'm moving to New York. And then all that stuff doesn't work. And then I was like, you know, I'm gonna move to New Jersey. And then everything worked out. God literally, like when I say like God literally gave me my apartment, like the way that I signed the lease for my apartment was not traditional. I thought I was getting scammed. And he was like, no, like we'll sign it, boo, 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 you come up. And then I was so skeptical about it. And I was like, you know, whatever, let's see. And I just like trusted that whatever was gonna happen. Like literally, I'm lucky it wasn't in Newark, because they would have scammed my butt so crazy. But I'm really like thankful to be coming out of the fish, getting back into my power, going to preach the word again as Jonah was. And he was very successful. And although sometimes like I think about the end of Jonah, but we'll talk about that another day, about my confusion as to why he was so depressed at the end of that question mark. We'll just save that for another day. But maybe he was just in sorrow. Maybe he's feeling the way that I felt, like he left his life behind to go preach at this city, and then things didn't really work out the way that he thought it was. He thought that that city was going to burn to the ground, because he didn't think that people were going to convert or like follow God, and they end up following God, and then God spared them. And then he was like, my life is a waste. But maybe I'm just trying to understand him. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, like at the end of Jonah, like the last like part of it, he's just kind of in this weird space where he's trying to, I don't know, like I think that he was like kind of in like the suicidal space where he just was very upset with God and very upset with himself, and he just was in confusion. But we'll save that for another day, because I don't really feel confused. I think that when God's hand is in things, there's no space for confusion. And that's kind of how I've been leading these next few paths. Like even right now, like my moving process has been very, very smooth. And you know, let's just keep that going. Just keeping that going, and just keeping that energy of like, if God didn't want me to move, like he would have made it so difficult for me to move. Like he would have been like, actually no, you can't move out until such and such a time. Like that's how it would have been. And I feel like even the phase that I'm going into now, the job that I'm going into next, if God had wanted me to stay here, he would have had the contract start later. And although like it's hard for my mind to process, like why would you want me to get up, although you see me building these relationships and pouring into these kids, there's obviously somebody who needs me to pour into them. And I just haven't met them yet. And they've met me, they've seen the light, they've heard me, we're going to breakfast tomorrow. So it's just like, it's so crazy. But all I want to say is, like, although this chapter is ending for me and I'm mourning it, I'm in just a space of gratitude, and just taking a moment to really just reflect. I think that a lot of people are moving through life and they're not taking the time to reflect. And when this was actually me. This is crazy. Oh, this is crazy. I don't even know how long I've been talking, but it's crazy because I used to not reflect on anything that I'd done. So to me, I haven't accomplished anything. And this was me maybe like 2 years ago before I even got here. And I just didn't recognize any of my accomplishments. I didn't think that I was accomplished. I didn't think that I was successful. And I just was like, wow, like, you've done nothing. what do you have to show for it? And I was comparing myself to all of these other people, which is why I think that Instagram is the killer of like actual achievements. Like Instagram really has the spirit of comparison on it, because like when I would look online and I see my friends and they're doing Super Bowl and they're doing this and they're doing that and they're working with this artist and they're doing Beyonce and all these other things, and then you look at your life and you're like, oh well, I just did this, but I made it so small, and then I lost the fact that I did do those. I did travel the world. I was dancing for a living. That was my career. And it still is my career. This is what I do. And I made it seem so small because everyone else's achievements seemed so big. So going into 2025, like this is still the beginning of the year, it's Valentine's Day. Really take a moment to reflect on all of the beautiful things that you have done in your life, because nobody else is going to do that for you. And you might have friends that pour into you and be like, girl, remember when you did this? Girl, remember when you did that? That was so amazing. I don't have that right now. And so for me, like I really just have to, I've been really taking the moment to be like, wow, like even in the small lessons that I've learned from the relationships that I've been in, just from looking at the bigger picture, and just really taking it in, it's really been such a beautiful process. So from this video, all I'm gonna say is just to wrap it up, it is okay to mourn and to grieve the season that you're letting go of, but please stay in a state of gratitude. Be grateful for the season that you're moving into, and don't take it as like, oh, now I'm better than everybody. No, stay in the state of gratitude, be humble, think about your position, and just go into it with just an open heart, and just know that God's plan is so much bigger than you can ever see. And although the timing may be weird and you're like, wow, why am I doing this randomly? Just know that God knows, and you just have to lean on him the most. If you are in your Jonah season and you are in your big fish, just say, God, thank you for protecting me. And although you might feel like you're just waiting and you're stagnant, you don't know, God, thank you for protecting me. That's the biggest lesson. And lastly, just take a moment to reflect, especially if you're in your waiting season, if you're in your season of isolation. Just reflect on all of the beautiful things that have happened, even the not beautiful things. Think about that heartbreak, and then although sometimes we have these heartbreaks or something bad has happened to us and we don't think about it. And for me, I just been taking accountability and just being like, wow, like this is where I messed up. This is where I could have did something differently, or dang, I knew better. And just being in that space instead of like, the world is attacking me and I'm not the problem. Baby, you probably were the problem, and that's okay. But just taking a moment to reflect and just being grateful that you went through the bad things, because good things are coming. So yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for enjoying my reflection and just me stepping out of my teaching position. And honestly, I didn't even know that we were going to get into this, but hey, one thing about God, he's gonna put a word on me. Hey, bye guys.